as part of my degree. My lecturer, she writes for the International Social Work Journal, Kaur, and she allowed us to do a international option. So I started off doing sociology. I then went and did my social work because I thought, my God, what am I going to do as a job in London? And then I went back to complete my sociology. And so my final year, you were able to do an international option. So I thought, this is great. I'm going to go to New York because it was just fascinating. And then, so I made the links with the NYU, and then somebody said, but it's really cold. You know, it's really cold in, in New York. It's snowing. It's going to be freezing when you're there. How's that going to be? And I thought, yeah, goodness, that's going to be crazy. So then I changed it to go to the Delhi. So I linked in with Delhi University, and I spoke to my dad about where am I going to stay, all that sort of thing. And very quickly, I was able to make some links with the university and the NGO. So I was able to go and get what I needed from the lecturers and books. And then I worked for, so I went to Punjab, for 9 months. It was just the best experience. It was really eye-opening. I think it taught me so much about my identity, and it helped me probably start that very conscious journey of actually who am I, because yes, you're a Sikh woman, and yes, you've been part of this family, but actually now you begin to start thinking about you, because that's what university does. It gets you to think, for yourself, and challenge and question things and find your own answers. So it was amazing. I worked with street children in Delhi. I worked also in the slums of Delhi as well, so teaching children, English and things like that. So worked with Plan International. I then made some links with UNICEF, so I ended up getting to have a lot of partnerships with them around accessing training and things like that. So they invited me to this session. I remember to this day, I don't think I'll ever forget that session. It was a man from Honduras who came to talk about street children and their plight in that country. And I remember it affecting me for such a long time, because he talked about how children are killed and murdered, as being very young. And it just makes you think about where you live and how privileged, and really Britain is a great place in that sense around its laws and legislation, because there are some clear human rights violations that go on all over the world. And it's just that we don't get to hear about it, and we don't get to do anything about it. It's a very horrible place to be. And I remember being so affected and thinking, what are people doing to address this? Like, why is nobody doing anything? That's the first thing that comes in your mind. And so I really enjoyed my time with the street children. I learned a lot from them, actually, because even when I'd want to give them money, they'd say no. They say, let us do the job we're doing and then give us the money. So if it's shoe cleaning, let me clean your shoes and then you give me the money. Such great pride and sense of wanting to work and feel valued. It was just incredible, actually. Some of the people that I met really touched me. I remember in the slums, this woman said to me, you must come to my house, and I said, yeah, of course I will come. So I remember going, and they just had one room, and she gave me tea with a lot of sugar, and somebody told me afterwards that that's a real honor, because actually, as being quite poor and sugar being expensive, that they really felt that you actually came to their simple dwellings. And for me, that was, I was really touched by all the people that I really met. So one of the things that I was able to do when I was by Nangloy in the slum areas is I went to visit the widows' colony and the widows from 84. And I remember walking down this narrow cobble street with the nali on the both sides, and thinking, God, this can't be right, can't be at the right place, kind of thing. And they said no, because the houses hadn't been redone, and they were very much like slum hut dwellings. I was really taken aback. I remember sitting and talking to this one woman, and I remember her saying to me that she feels really happy that I'd come to listen to her story. And this was 10 years after 84, by the way. So for me, that really touched me. I thought, my God, you've gone through so much, and you're saying that. But actually, they did feel that they'd been forgotten, and their stories had been forgotten. And actually, they'd lost not only their husbands, but their sons and generations, and they were all alone. And I remember how hearing some of those stories about those nights, of what they went through in Delhi, very, very distressing. But I think for me, it woke me up to say, what are we actually doing as a community? How are we helping? And I know that there are organisations that were helping at that time, like the International Sikh Youth Federation, supporting families and victims of 84. But I think it really kind of woke me up about my own journey, and as a result of that, I read about Just Once in Cholera and his journey, and you know, he became my role model really, because I think for me his last speech, but actually what he had done, his integrity was just everything that human rights actually is all about really. So it was quite interesting, you know. My father was already in this line of work kind of thing, and I'd stumbled across it in a way, my own way, but it was not a separate journey as it were, and it was, identity is something that is there all the time in your life. You don't always tend to think about it, you know.